Hey there, we hope you enjoy the video. Starting us off today is Jonathan playing Multani. He starts us off with Renata, Caller of the Hunt, Animist Awakening, Kodama's Reach, Shadow Sphere, Sword of Fire and Ice, and 2 snow-covered forests. Today, I'll be piloting my Shattergang Brothers deck. I keep an opening hand with Grim Initiate, Kodama's Reach, Captive Audience, Ichor Wellspring, Magnifying Glass, Mountain Valley, and a Mountain. Up next we have Jaime, playing his Fynn the Fangbearer deck. He keeps a hand with Moss Viper, Skullwinder, Farika's Disciple, Rampant Growth, Fire Shrieker, and 2 Forests. Going last today, we have Albert, playing his Gishath Sun's Avatar deck. He keeps a hand with Otepec Huntmaster, Somberwald Sage, Godzilla Primal Champion, Blossoming Defense, Clifftop Retreat, Selesnya Sanctuary, and a Forest. With opening hands out of the way, let's start this game. Jonathan starts us off by playing a snow-covered forest and passing the turn. I draw and play a Mountain Valley tapped, then I pass the turn. Jaime draws and plays a forest, then taps it for a Sedge Scorpion. Next is Albert, who drops a Clifftop Retreat and passes. Jonathan starts turn 2 by dropping a snow-covered forest, and with nothing else, passes the turn. After I draw, I play a mountain, then tap it for a Grim Initiate, and sacrifice the Mountain Valley for a forest. Tap it to play a Skull Climb, then pass. Next, Jaime draws and again plays a forest, this time for his commander, Fynn the Fangbearer. He goes to combat and attacks Albert for 1. Albert untaps, draws, drops a forest, and taps out for Otepec Huntmaster, then passes the turn. After Jonathan draws, he drops a forest and then taps everything for Kodama's Reach, getting a tap forest to the field and a forest to the hand, and passing the turn. I untap, draw, play a mountain, and liking what Jonathan did, I tap out for my own Kodama's Reach, getting 2 swamps, 1 to the hand and 1 to the battlefield tap, and pass the turn to Jaime. Jaime untaps, draws, plays a forest, then goes to combat, attacking Jonathan and me. I block with my creature, and Jonathan takes 1 damage and gets 2 poison counters. During his second main phase, he plays a Moss Viper, and then a Rampant Growth, putting a forest onto the battlefield tapped, and passes. Albert untaps, draws, then during his main phase, casts a Lightning Greaves. Then he plays a Selesnya Bounce Land, returning the forest to his hand. He then equips his Greaves to his creature. With nothing else, he passes the turn. Jonathan draws, drops a Snow Forest, then taps out for a Temur Sabertooth and a Shadow Sphere, then ends. I untap, draw, play a swamp, cast a Molten Birth, then tap 2 for Ichor Wellspring, passing to Jaime. He untaps, draws, plays a basic forest, taps 3 lands for a Fire Shrieker, then goes to equip it to his commander. He then goes to combat and sends 1 creature at everyone. I block while the others take it. Albert untaps, draws a card, then he plays a basic forest as his land per turn. Albert taps for 3 mana to cast Somberwald Sage. Equip the Greaves. Taps her for a Majestic Heliopterus and passes. Next up is Jonathan. He untaps, draws, and plays a snow-covered forest as his land. He taps 2 to equip the Shadow Sphere to his Teamer Sabertooth. He then taps 3 lands to play Sword of Fire and Ice. He then realizes that it's better to have the sword equipped than the spear. We allow him to take it back and re-equip the sword instead. Even after all that, he then attacks me for 9 damage. The sword then triggers and he destroys Jaime's Scorpion and draws a card. Then he passes. It's my turn, so I untap, draw, and play a Kessig Wolf Run for my land. I'll tap for Molten Breath again.
How's that one come back to your hand?
Yeah, I have to win the die roll.
Oh, the die roll.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not just a one and done. You can keep doing it.
You can keep doing it if you keep winning, yeah.
Cool.
Which I was like, this is one of the best token creators you can ever get.
That's pretty cool. You got luck.
Oh, dude, look right here. Watch it. Odd.
Damn.
Nah, see that shit.
Right
I
too.
saw this slide. It didn't even roll.
Yeah, and it went over those cards.
Yeah, it jumped though, but it stayed.
Okay,
I
okay,
saw
Jaime.
the magnet down on the table.
Oh, okay.
That dice might be mine, but it is loaded.
During my second main phase, I decide to putrefy Jaime's commander, so no one gets hit for poison counters anymore. Jaime sends his commander to the graveyard, and then starts his turn by drawing and untapping.
So I'm gonna tap 3.
Oh, shit.
Skullwinder. I can return target card from my graveyard to my hand, Fynn, and then I pick an opponent. They do the same. I'll pick you.
He looks up like, what's in my graveyard? Fynn gets replayed, and now the threat is back. He goes to combat and swings 1 creature at Jonathan. With no blockers, he is now up to 6 poison counters. Albert untaps, draws, and taps everything for his commander, Gishath. He then plays the Boros bounce land, returning that same forest to his hand. Then he equips the Greaves to his commander, Gishath. So,
Cool.
flying?
Nope.
No, it's got flying.
You can't target it. It has lightning greaves.
Can I do that again?
You wanna?
Yeah.
And then,
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Move that afterwards. Alright. Now, attack.
Okay, yeah, take it.
Alright, so 7. 1.
name them. Name them.
Go to Primal
That's
Hunger.
already a bad one.
Hunger. Drover of the Mighty. Selesnya Guildgate. Godzilla. Actually don't
It's a
know.
dino. That's not.
Territorial Allosaurus. 6. 7. Charging Tuscadon.
And re-equips the Greaves. Jonathan untaps. Goes to draw. And then plays a snow-covered forest for his land. Then he taps 3 for the Sword of Light and Shadow. Then taps the rest of his lands to equip all of his equipment to the Teamer Sabertooth. He goes to combat and attacks me again for another 9 damage. He then gains 12 life, destroys Albert's majestic creature, and draws a card. Seeing that Albert is a threat, I just need one more land drop to try to slow him down a bit. Lucky for me, there was a forest on the top. I then play Captive Audience on Albert. With nothing else, I pass my turn to Jaime. Jaime then untaps, draws a card. He re-equips the Fire Streaker to his commander, giving him double strike. He then attacks Albert with all his creatures. Albert blocks one creature and goes up to 8 poison counters. On his second main phase, he plays Farika's Disciple for 3 mana and ends his turn. Albert untaps. He decides to go to 4 life off of the Captive Audience trigger. Then he draws a card. He then, for 7 mana, cast Verdant Sun's Avatar, gaining him 5 life. Not liking my enchantment, he decides to take me out. I'm blocking. So those are...
Ooh.
Loss in defense on the Gishath.
Yes. Go for it.
1.
So that's 3 life. 2. Oh yeah, that's 5 life.
He survived now.
3. Well, let me put these off to the side.
Yeah.
Name them so I can...
Thrashing Bronzedon, Raging Raptors, Wooded Foothills, Sky Shot Claim, Cinderglade, Cultivate, Burning Sun's Avatar. Sweet!
With the Sun's Avatar's trigger entering, he destroys Jaime's commander. Jonathan untaps everything. He draws a card, then plays a snow-covered forest as his land per turn. He then goes to combat and attacks Albert with his creature. Albert blocks with the Raptors, and then, using the Brontodon's activate ability, sacrifices it to destroy the Sword of Fire and Ice. Jonathan then gains 7 life, and Albert goes down to 16. On his second main phase, he decides to finally cast Multani, his commander, and he equips him with the Sword of Light and Shadow, and passes his turn. Jaime untaps and draws. He taps 4 lands to replay his commander, Fynn, and again swings everything at Albert, trying to get those final 2 counters on him. Unfortunately, Albert got just enough creatures to block all of Jaime's, and they all trade. With nothing else, he passes his turn to Albert. Albert then untaps, draws, he then casts Glorying Ceratops, and he immediately equips the Lightning Greaves to it. He then casts Dramoka's command to fight Multani with Kulta. He goes to combat and takes Jaime out and puts Jonathan to 27 life. Jonathan untaps, draws, he plays a Homeward Path for his land, he taps 2 for Road of Return to bring back the Sword of Fire and Ice. He then plays the sword and equips it to his tiger, alongside with the Sword of Light and Shadow. He goes to combat and attacks Albert for 9 damage. He gains 12 life and deals 2 damage to Albert's face, and draws a card. He then taps his last mana for Basilisk Collar. Albert untaps, draws, replays his commander, Gishath, and fully swings out at Jonathan, killing him. Congratulations to Albert and Gishath. Usually Albert misses with the dinosaurs, but this time he just kept hitting them and hitting them. It just shows you how strong these dinosaurs can be when you get the right ones onto the battlefield. Jonathan is new to the channel and to the game, so I let him borrow my mono green Multani deck. You just have to suit him up and attack face. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get him the win this time. Although you got to see the token part of my Shattergang Brothers deck, I didn't get the key pieces I needed to control the board and take the win for myself. Jaime's Fynn deck came so close to winning, having Jonathan at 6 poison counters and Albert at 8. If he had focused on them more early on, he probably would have taken the win. Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for more EDH content. And don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Thank you and have a great rest of the week.